Welcome to Speak for Yourself. Marcellus Wiley here. Emmanuel Acho is off today. I don't know what TV show he's filming, what talk show, what book he's writing, but the show must carry on, so let's get it started right here in my hometown in La La, where LeBron's game winner gave the Lakers a 103-100 win over the Warriors in the most exciting play-in game to date. Well, it's kind of like one of the few. But the Lakers are actually in the playoffs now, and the Warriors host the Grizzlies for the 8th seed on Friday. After the game, LeBron, Steph, and everyone else were talking about the shot that sealed it. Take a listen.
When KCP kicked it out, I looked at the shot clock. I saw it was had to get it up, at least get up on the rim. Second thing I saw was 3 rims. From being poked in the eye on that previous possession when I drove to the hole, to the man above, and through a lot of practice, I was able to drain it.
It's a great shot. Broken play. That was a tough one because you don't really expect it to go in. You expect us to get the rebound, come down in transition, have a possession to take the lead, but everything changes when it goes in. All-time great players make great shots. That's what happens.
All right, let's get it rolling with Fox NBA insider Slick Rick Dubuquer and Chris Broussard. Slick Rick, start with you. Were you impressed with the Lakers or disappointed in the Warriors last night?
I was disappointed, but not in the Warriors collectively. I was disappointed in their 2 stars, Steph Curry and Draymond Green. The supporting cast did what they had to do. They got this to a possession-by-possession game in the final 2-3 minutes of the game. And their stars simply didn't come through. I don't want to hear about Jordan Poole missing a corner 3 that could have tied it and possibly pushed it to overtime. Kent Bazemore making a play for Jordan Poole, who's only in his 2nd year in the league, is not what I expect in a situation like this. Bottom line is, Steph's numbers shooting-wise were very good overall, but he had twice as many turnovers as he had assists. In the final 2.5 minutes of the game, he had 2 free throws and 1 turnover. And the situation where LeBron ended up getting that shot, he kind of forced the switch that didn't need to happen. I dare say you would have rather had Andrew Wiggins guarding LeBron in that situation than Steph. And you look at Draymond, same thing. In the final minutes, 0 points, 0 rebounds, and 1 costly turnover, whether you agree whether it was legitimate or not. So ultimately, the Warriors supporting cast, and I've been saying this, the reason the Warriors were in this situation, got to this situation, we were denigrating the supporting cast. They did their jobs, and they did their jobs last night. The stars ultimately did not.
Yeah, I'm with you, Slick. I'm disappointed in the Warriors. They had it. It was right in their hands, and they let it go. I'm reminded what Bill Belichick always tells his players, that more games are lost than won. More games are lost than won. This was a game that the Golden State Warriors actually lost, not the Los Angeles Lakers won. I talk about disappointment because the definition, at least the way I define it, forget Webster's, is the gap between expectations and reality. Tell me, what were your expectations at halftime when you saw this team, the Golden State Warriors, up 13? They were going to win that game. Tell me what your expectations were when you saw them shoot the ball better than the Los Angeles Lakers. Tell me what your expectations were when you saw them shoot from the 3 better than the Los Angeles Lakers. So many things added up to where our expectations were, they're going to win this game. But the reality is that they lost this game by 3. So you look at the Lakers, and all the cliches are true. You look at them and say, all right, heart of a champion, way to hang in there. Oh, they showed the mettle that you need to go forward as a champion should. But that said, this was a game in terms of the 2 scoreboards we always talk about, the one that you can physically see with your eyes, but the other one that you could feel with all of your senses. And you can see that the Golden State Warriors really had control of this game for the largest part of the game. Their largest lead was 13 points. Largest lead for the Lakers, only 7 points. Lakers' first lead, 81-79 off of a Kuzma basket in the 4th quarter. Man, I know the Lakers won this game, but it was really feeling like the Golden State Warriors actually lost this game.
Yeah, look, I'm going to go with the Golden State. I'm more disappointed with them, but by default, because I wasn't impressed at all with the Lakers. Right. The Lakers make me feel like now they're more vulnerable than I expected going into this game. LeBron's shot was tremendous. But outside of that, they left a lot to be desired. LeBron himself, it's clear, he's not close to 100% physically. So until he gets there and gets his stamina, timing, everything else back, his explosion, he's going to have to get by on savvy, on skills, on smarts. He's got plenty of it, and he did it last night, but that makes them more vulnerable. AD, he couldn't even post up Draymond Green. Draymond, he's got like 5 inches on Draymond Green. And the Lakers, they didn't take advantage of their size. They played with size in the first half and didn't use their size to bully Golden State, which they had an advantage at every single position, and yet they tried to play finesse ball with the Golden State Warriors. Second half, when they go AD at the 5 and spread the floor, that's when they had their success. So I really wasn't impressed by the Lakers. So Golden State played well. Look, I felt during the game they had no room for error, and that's where they lost it. In the third quarter, they got sloppy with the basketball. As Rick knows this, that's what they do. I mean, this wasn't a surprise. The Golden State Warriors are sloppy with the basketball. They're 28th in the league in turnovers. It can happen to Draymond. It can happen to Steph. And that's what happened last night. So in that third quarter, they start throwing the ball away. And instead of pulling away from the Lakers, they let the Lakers hang around. And obviously the Lakers delivered the death blow at the end of the game. But the Warriors had no room for error because they were overmatched talent-wise. But they made too many errors, and that's why they lost. So I was more disappointed in them because it was their champions that made the mistakes. It was Draymond and Steph, as well as they both played. And then at the end of the game, to not even get a shot, you don't get a shot off, they disappointed me.
True. Yeah, no. That was my point. I mean, it wasn't that they were sloppy with the ball and they turned it over. It was that Steph and Draymond were sloppy with the ball. And they weren't that through the course of May when they made this run to get into this play-in game. So we're talking about they didn't have much margin for error. Draymond and Steph had to know they didn't have much of a margin for error. And yet we saw what we saw. And yes, they play loose and fast. There was a time where they had the talent that they could do that. I think also if we just take a step back and we look at what the expectations were for these two teams, yes, it was a play-in game. But you're talking about the Los Angeles Lakers, and I'm explaining why I wasn't impressed with this performance. And honestly, I don't know that Steph was. Do you guys hear that quiet diss about you don't expect that shot to go in? LeBron James is taking a 32-footer, and he basically said, yeah, you know, we thought we had won the game when the ball got kicked out to LeBron looking to make the game-winning shot. But overall, this was still a game that had an Andrew Wiggins who was only in the playoffs for the, and I'm going to count these as playoff games, was only in this situation for the first time. You're looking at Juan Toscano-Anderson and Jordan Poole playing big roles with this team. The Lakers are the defending champions. They had all these guys with this ton of experience. And I've been hearing how LeBron and AD are finding their way and finding their groove, and here they come. And while I don't think that this makes them look vulnerable, they did not impress me in terms of what they did in this game. But the killer is, it was there for the taking for the Warriors. They did everything necessary, and now we needed that magic from Steph that we just became accustomed to seeing. Draymond and Steph finding a way to get him a shot and knocking it down, and it simply didn't happen.
Yeah, I mean, we know why it didn't happen as well. I mean, we've all watched basketball. We know sports well enough, and you two guys leading the charge here. It's simple. Every coach tells you this. You don't have to even show me the game. I don't have to watch it live. I don't have to see it on DVR. Show me the stat sheet and show me the turnovers, and I can tell you which team most of the time won that game. If you look at the second half of this game right now, 15 times in the second half, we saw the Golden State Warriors turn the ball over. Second highest in a second half for them the entire season. That's not going to get it done against a championship squad like the Lakers. Warriors turned the ball over 7 times in the fourth quarter, and only the two starters, Wiggins and Steph scored in that same fourth quarter. So what I saw happen, man, it's about the excitement. It was funny to see the champions, like you said,